So we got some breaking news now from the federal courthouse in downtown Manhattan. The judge in the Luigi Mangione case has now issued a new ruling with a major impact with regard to the death penalty. Nate Foy live outside the federal courthouse where he is set to appear. Mangione is in about 30 minutes. Nate, what is going on now? The ruling.
Hey, Bill. Good morning. So the judge just put out some written opinions ahead of the 11 a.m. federal hearing where Mangione will appear in two major decisions here. One of them for Mangione's defense and the other one against. The biggest news here is that the judge has agreed with Mangione's defense team to throw out the most serious charge against him of murder through use of a firearm and another firearms weapons charge. This means that the death penalty is now off the table in this federal case in New York State, as far as the state case doesn't do the death penalty. So this means the death penalty is off the table for Luigi Mangione. The other big decision that we are learning from the judge today is the judge denied Mangione's defense team's request to suppress some of the evidence. Now, Mangione's team argued that his constitutional rights were violated when police searched his backpack while arresting him in Pennsylvania. They found that ghost gun that prosecutors allege was the murder weapon that Mangione allegedly used to kill Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO, back in December of 2024. Police also found his journal that some have referred to as his manifesto, where you could get an insight into his thinking. Again, his defense team argued that his constitutional rights were violated because there wasn't a warrant for that search. The judge denied that request, so that evidence will be allowed at trial. This decision, both of them, will have a big impact on the federal trial, including on the timing. So we knew going into today that the jury selection would happen in September, but this decision on throwing out the murder through use of a firearm charge will impact when the actual trial will start. So if the schedule holds, the federal trial will now start in October. The state case is sort of in limbo right now because the Manhattan DA's office wants the trial first. They want it to start July 1st. Mangione's team hasn't officially responded to that yet, but they have put out a statement where they called that unrealistic and say that they will need more time to prepare for this trial. The hearing today is still going to happen. Mangione will appear again at 11 o'clock, and the judge will lay out the next steps here. But the big news today is that the death penalty is off the table for Luigi Mangione. We'll send it back to you, Bill.
Okay, wow. Okay, Nate, thanks on those developments in Lower Manhattan. Nate Foy.
You got it.
Hi, Kerri Urbahn joins us. Of course, Kerri is our legal analyst, and it's like legal analysis, just add water. This just happened, so kind of putting you on the spot here. What does it mean that death penalty now is off the table? Is that appealable?
It is appealable, and I'm sure they will appeal it. But it is, I think, disappointing. The defense's argument was that stalking is inherent, can be nonviolent, right? So in order for the charges that carry the death penalty with it, there had to be an underlying crime of violence. And the defense argued that stalking can be done nonviolently and therefore doesn't qualify. But, you know, if you look at the federal statute and you look at the language about stalking, you know, one of the elements is that it can create a reasonable, basically objectively, if someone is stalked, it would reasonably create, you know, fear, right? And I think that anybody who's been a victim of stalking is always going to be worried that the stalker is going to do something violent to them. It's kind of the nature of the offense.
Exactly. It's like, well, if you ask the person being stalked how they feel about it, and at any moment if they feel it could turn violent, that seems a little bit strange. So when he appears at 11, I mean, there's the other piece of this. So there's the decisions today, but there's also his fan base that is just so infatuated with him and what he is accused of doing that I imagine that they're probably figuring out a way to take a victory lap today.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. You know, I'm surprised the judge went with the defense's argument on this. I really am. I thought the prosecution made a good case. Again, just given the nature of stalking, it feels a bit like common sense was suspended in agreeing with the defense on this one, as far as stalking can be done nonviolently. I mean, it's a very technical argument, and the technicality won the day, at least today. Now, the evidence that the defense was trying to get thrown out, all the key evidence, the backpack and the stuff that was in it, that's going to stay. The judge did say, I'm not granting that request. This stays in. And I think the reason probably for that is because there was a hearing last week, and deputy police chief from the police department where Mangione was found, he wasn't part of any of this, but he testified and said that everything was done according to standard procedure. There was nothing different or strange about it. And I thought, as soon as I heard that from the police chief, I thought, okay, that evidence is going to stay in. So it is. So we'll see. But the prosecutors, I'm sure, will appeal this decision because it's significant.
Okay, there are dueling start dates, okay? The New York State trial is requested for July 1st, but the federal trial date is tentatively set on September 8th. November would mark 2 years since the killing.
Yeah, and think about this. If the prosecution appeals this, the throwing out of this case, that it goes even longer. You're talking about years, even more years. I don't think the state's getting the July 1st date. The defense is objecting to it. I'd be surprised if the judge in the state case agrees to it. As far as the fall goes, we'll see. But again, if the prosecution appeals what happened today, you're looking at an even longer timeline. And typically, and as you know, the name of the game, if you're a defense attorney, is just keep pushing it down the field as long as you can go.
Can I ask you
things to drag out.
What might be a stupid question?
Yeah.
But if the death penalty is off the table, and the reason there was the death penalty is because there was the federal charges, does the federal case need to go forward?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there are different justice issues at play here,
okay.
And both the feds and the states are going to want to go at this in their own way. And usually, Dana, the feds go first,
right.
Just generally speaking. So you have the fed trial, then you have the state trial. Now, I think the defense was arguing there's like a double jeopardy issue here at play, but this is very common, and typically the federal government's allowed to go first.
Okay, Kerri Urbahn, thank you for that quick analysis. She's got it all up here, guys. That's why we have her. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.